Now I'm going to show you how students can use a Casio non-graphing to enter the same statistics information and get that same 5-number summary. So notice I'm using a 300 ES Plus, and if you notice right now, you see the word stat is highlighted right here above the screen. If that's not there, the students will need to make sure that it is, and here's how. They can go to Mode and make sure that they press number 2, and then they can just quit out of there, and once they do, stat will pop up. If you notice, if I had chose number 1, which is computation, notice it's no longer there. So I want to make sure that I choose stat, and then I can clear out of there. So now if I want to put information in, I'm going to go to Shift and number 1, which you'll notice above it says stat. And I want to enter my data, so I'm going to press number 2, and then I'm going to enter the data that I'm going to be using. And once I've entered it, I'm going to hit the all clear button to get out of the editor. So now if I want to find the minimum and maximum and the rest of the 5-number summary, I'm going to hit Shift and then the number 1, which is that stat button. And notice I have some options. So here is all of my measures of variability. This one also includes my mean, so if I hit number 4, I'll see that it shows me how many values were in the data set, the mean, and both the population standard deviation and the sample standard deviation. So let's say I decide I want the mean, I would select the number 2 and then hit enter. Here's where your students are going to make mistakes because they're going to forget that they need to hit enter every time. So a student would simply have to write that down. Now to find the 5-number summary, I'm going to hit Shift and the number 1 back to that stat button. And notice there's one here that says minimum and maximum. It actually contains all of the 5-number summary, but again, I'll have to do each one separately. So if I want the minimum, I'll choose the number 1 and hit enter, because notice this is still the average that it was showing. So there's the minimum. I would repeat that entire process. So Shift, the number 1, 5 for min max, and then if I want to find Q1, I'll hit 3 and enter. And I can continue on through all of that. So Shift, number 1, the min and max button, which is number 5, and let's say this time I want the median, again making sure that I hit enter. And again, if I want to go back and look at the standard deviations, so after I hit Shift 1, I would choose variance, which is number 4, and I could decide whether I wanted the population standard deviation or the sample standard deviation. Let's say we do the sample, so I would choose number 4 and hit enter, and I would get the exact same values that you just saw in the TI version. So a little more work. Obviously the students on this particular calculator cannot do the graph, but they can copy down the numbers, which they'll have to report anyways, and then draw their graph the same as the other students. Hope that was helpful.